What did your child do that you weren't allowed to be proud of? My son Brady was 12 when he did something that made me the proudest and most terrified I'd ever been as a father. We live in a small town where everyone knows everyone, and reputation matters more than truth most of the time. Brady's best friend was this kid named Austin who lived with his grandma because his parents were both addicts. Austin was quiet, wore the same 3 shirts to school, and always seemed hungry. The other kids picked on him constantly, called him trailer trash, made jokes about his clothes smelling weird. Brady never joined in, but he never stood up for Austin either. I figured that was normal kid stuff. Then one day Brady comes home with a black eye and his shirt all torn up. I'm expecting some story about boys being boys, maybe a fight over a basketball game or something stupid. Instead, Brady tells me what really happened. Austin had been getting beaten up behind the gym by 3 older kids. They were calling him names, throwing his backpack in the mud, typical bully stuff, but then one of them said something about Austin's mom being a junkie and how he'd probably end up dead in a ditch just like her. That's when Brady completely snapped. He jumped all 3 of them. Got his butt kicked, obviously, but he fought like crazy. Gave one kid a bloody nose, scratched another one pretty good, left the 3rd one with a bruised rib. When the principal called, I expected him to praise Brady for standing up for his friend. Instead, he told me there was a problem. A really big problem. Those 3 kids, one was the mayor's nephew. Another was the police chief's son. The 3rd was from the richest family in town, the ones who own half the businesses on Main Street. The principal said Brady was looking at suspension, maybe even expulsion for assault. The parents were demanding serious consequences. They wanted Brady labeled as a violent troublemaker. That night, I got calls. First from my boss at the construction company asking if there was going to be a problem with the Miller family contract. The Millers were the rich family whose kid got scratched up. Then the police chief called personally. Not officially, he said, but maybe Brady should apologize and this whole thing could all go away. Just boys being boys, right? My wife was panicking. We couldn't afford to lose my job. We couldn't handle Brady getting kicked out of school. She begged me to make him apologize and smooth things over. The next morning, I drove Brady to school for what was supposed to be his apology meeting. All the parents were there, looking like they were ready for war. Brady looked so small sitting in that chair, facing all these angry adults who wanted to destroy him for doing the right thing. The mayor's nephew had barely a scratch on him, but his mom was demanding Brady get counseled for violent behavior. That's when I made the hardest decision of my life. I stood up and said Brady wouldn't be apologizing. I said he did exactly what I taught him to do, protect people who can't protect themselves. The room exploded. The police chief threatened me. The Miller woman said we'd regret this decision. My boss texted me 20 minutes later saying not to come to work Monday. Brady got suspended for a week. I lost my job. We had to pull him out of that school and send him to the next town over, which meant driving him 40 minutes each way every day. For 3 months, we barely scraped by. My wife picked up extra shifts at the diner. I did odd jobs and handyman work. People in town treated us like we were criminals. But you know what? Austin's grandma called me that first night. She was crying so hard she could barely speak. She said no adult had ever stood up for Austin before. No one had ever made those boys face consequences. Austin started coming over to our house after school. The kid was smart as hell, just never had anyone believe in him. Brady helped him with homework. We made sure he ate dinner with us most nights. Last week, Austin graduated high school as valedictorian, full scholarship to State University. In his speech, he thanked Brady for being the first person to ever fight for him when it mattered. I couldn't be publicly proud of my son for doing the right thing, but privately, I've never been prouder of anything in my entire life.